This week on Supercars Talk, Tim Slade is confirmed at Premier Racing for next year, Pete Adderton wants to bring back the boost, and it's Surfers Paradise this weekend. So, the big news this week, Tim Slade has been confirmed at Premier Racing for next year. Could they have got him a shirt that fitted for those promo shots? Just a bit different to the Hazelwood Blanchard shots where they put him in a nice team shirt and that. It was just a bit ordinary. No big surprise here. We were pretty certain that this was going to happen. Just a matter of time before James Golding gets confirmed there as well for next year. And speaking of James Golding, they were supposed to release a special livery for the Subway car for this weekend. That had to be postponed due to bad weather on the Gold Coast over the weekend, so they didn't have their big party. Jimmy was going to do a DJ set as part of the unveil of the livery as well. He's a bit of a DJ in his spare time, apparently. I'm trying to think of the Formula 1 driver who used to DJ. He's one of the Red Bull, Jaime Alguersuari. He used to DJ on the side as well. And you got Colton Herder in IndyCar as well. He plays the drums for a band, the Zibs, on the side. I should really check out their music sometime because, just, to support a fellow race car driver. The plan is also to have all the teams test at least their first Gen 3 car before Christmas. Some might say this is a bit ambitious, but if you're on Instabook and all that, there is a lot of teams that are getting around showing shots of at least their first chassis being up and running. If they can get in a test before Christmas, it will really help in case there is any bugs or anything. Will be interesting this weekend though if someone has a big shunt and then do you try and sit out Adelaide due to force majeure if you do not have a spare car, because there'll be a few teams struggling a bit, especially after the big hits at Bathurst, and there's a big fine if you do sit out around, it could be a big setback, especially for a few of those teams that had big hits at Bathurst if they had another one at Surface and then had to focus on repairing cars before Adelaide rather than focusing on their Gen 3 builds. So there was potentially a big story last week that I kind of didn't give a lot of time to really, because it was from the Human headline, Peter Adderton. He said he wants to enter next year with a boost car for Richie Stanaway. He wants that final licence that is still sat at Supercars headquarters, that apparently no one's allowed to have. He said he'll... I didn't give him much time because, Peter Adderton, Human headline, didn't think too much of it. But I have heard during the week that he definitely has a team that is ready to supply him with a car, and kind of like what happened with Erebus Wildcard at Bathurst, where, he provides the money, they provide the team and whatever, the car and that, and kind of runs it for him. Supposedly not Erebus, but he's at least organised with one team that, this could happen for the start of next year if he does get his hands on that licence. He has proposed that he will not take any revenue from that licence for at least the first 2 years. So that takes away one of the hurdles. He's saying that the teams don't want to have to compete against him because he will go out and beat them. Richie Stanaway as the driver, though, that's really what I want to see to happen. He probably wasn't given the right chances, I suppose, in his Supercars career. What the man showed in that first co-drive with Cam Waters back in 2017, I think it was, they won the Sandown 500. They showed really well at Bathurst together. Then he was in the fourth Tickford car. He was in a GRM that was shutting its doors kind of thing. It just didn't get a fair shake at his full-time career. What he showed at Bathurst, the guy deserves a proper chance. That's what I would like to see. And selfish reasons, I'd just like to see more cars on the grid. I always think, they've kind of limited it to 26 now, and they're not giving that 26 away to anyone, it seems. Tony Cochrane always had this magical 28 cars in mind when, the field was back at like 35 and things like that. I can't see why we can't say, right, let Pete Adderton have the 26th. Then there is a 27th and 28th licence out there. if a third manufacturer comes along. And that's the only reason that they, there's something that's really going to add to the sport. But I think the enticement should be there to, kind of expand the field a little bit. If something big like that would happen, I'd just like to see more cars on the grid. I know there is some limitations at some circuits, but if we could have had 28, 10, 15 years ago or whatever, I'm sure we could have 28 today, because the new circuits like the Bend that's been added, there definitely isn't the same limitations on there. And then if we do find another circuit in New Zealand, will you say, we've got to take 28 cars there. So there is some racing again this weekend. It's been a long time since we've been at Surfers Paradise, way back in 2019. Scott McLaughlin was coming off a Bathurst win that wasn't controversial at all. He then on the Sunday morning in qualifying, he went and destroyed that Bathurst winning car, which it never raced again. It did get repaired, and as far as I know, that's the one that's over in the Penske Museum. But yeah, that was a big hit. He'd finished third on the day before, but yeah, didn't happen to run the next day for obvious reasons. This was back in the time where co-drivers were at, they were longer races at Surfers Paradise. The spoils did go to the House of Eights. No surprises there. Wing Cup and Lowndes. Remember when they were a thing? They paired to win on Saturday with Van Gisbergen and Tanner in second. And then on the Sunday, that was reversed with Van Gisbergen and Tanner winning, Lowndes and Wing Cup in second. And Reynolds and Dave Youlden at Erebus, after winning Bathurst the year before, they rounded out the final podium spot on the Sunday. This year's races, we'll see both Saturday and Sunday, same formats, 20-minute qualifying sessions, top 10 shootouts. Hopefully the weather doesn't wreck those again. And then an 85-lap race on both afternoons. Although the co-drivers are gone for this one, I suppose just Shane Van Gisbergen probably will go, how can you bet against him at the moment? But we can assume that kind of street fighters in Mostert and Cam Waters will be there to take the fight to him, hopefully. That's what I'm predicting. Hopefully Dave Reynolds can have a good showing from, they've had a bit of a lacklustre second half of the year. Hopefully they can get a bit back on track, because they were looking really good at the start of the year. But yeah, I think it's probably going to be between those three main guys, and the other guys are just going to be playing for scraps. So that's my Surfers Paradise preview. Down in the comments, who do you think is going to win over the weekend, and should we be allowing Peter Adderton to have that final licence? What do you think of my idea of opening up the 27th and 28th spot on the grid as well, if we can get a new manufacturer in, or should we maybe just be letting anyone kind of come in and take those seats, just to have more cars on the grid? Let me know. Until next time, I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you later.